You can start now.
A very good evening to all present here. Welcome to the fifth session of the Distinguished Speaker series. I am Anusha Kenikar from the Student Speaker Nexus, that is TSSN. TSSN is a platform of students, by students, and for students created by our team members who are from the age group 16 to 19 years. Our main goal is to connect inspiring speakers with aspiring students by organizing webinars conducted by experienced speakers from various disciplines and all walks of life. We try to help our fellow students to get clarity on various career options and a wide spectrum of opportunities in the future. Since the COVID-19 lockdown, we have conducted around 30 sessions in which 2,500 students have participated. In the first session of the Distinguished Speaker series was conducted by Professor L.S. Sashidhara sir on the 5th of September, where Sir talked about how to build exciting careers in science for the post-COVID world. This was followed by the second session of the Distinguished Speaker series on the 10th of October by Dr. Arvind Chinsure sir, where Sir shared his journey and spoke about his journey in science, dreams, reality, and beyond. As our third distinguished speaker, we had Dr. Anand Deshpande speaking about getting ready for 2030 in 2020 on 20th December. Lastly, we had Professor Ajit Kembhavi sir, who spoke about LIGO India, a mega project for the young. On behalf of Team TSSN, I would like to sincerely welcome and thank Professor Bhushan Patwardhan sir for gracing our platform as the fifth speaker in the TSSN Distinguished Speaker Series. We would also like to welcome our co-organizers from the Center for Complementary and Integrative Health Interdisciplinary School of Health Sciences at Savitribai Phule Pune University and all participants from India and other parts of the globe. I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, a national research professor designated by the Ministry of Ayush, currently located at Interdisciplinary School of Health Sciences, Savitribai Phule Pune University. He was Vice Chairman at University Grants Commission, New Delhi, and Chairman at Indian Council of Social Science Research, New Delhi. He is a biomedical scientist who is a fellow of National Academy of Sciences and National Academy of Medical Sciences in India. Currently, he is the chairman of the Interdisciplinary R&D Task Force on COVID-19 in Ministry of Ayush and also a member of the National Board of Examination. We are grateful to have you here, sir. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tanvi. And first, let me greet all of you. I'm happy that this is made by student for students and managed very, very well by the students. And I must appreciate my friend Santosh Dikshit, who is behind the screen, providing all the support to the students. Today, what you have asked me to talk about is really a big ticket, and I'll try what best I can do. First part, what you are asking me to talk is about excellence, pursuit of excellence. We really have to think, what do you mean by really pursuit of excellence? And this pursuit of excellence is trying to do something better or as well as somebody is already doing. And as you know, that pursuit of excellence is a never-ending thing, because the moment you achieve something, there is much better which is waiting for you. So it's a continuous journey. And it can be primarily, it can have two purposes or rather two reflections when you talk about pursuit of excellence. One is pursuit of excellence can be linked with some kind of a very, very intense struggle. So pursuit of, unless you struggle and unless you work really very hard and unless you intend to achieve something, there is a burning desire. This kind of a pursuit of excellence becomes a means for doing this. It becomes a mean for striving hard. It becomes a mean for struggle, and so that is one part of it. But the pursuit of excellence also can be your goal, And the pursuit of excellence, which becomes your goal, gives you more and more energy and more and more uh, uh, aspirations, increasing aspirations to reach to that. Especially in the COVID-19 scenario, this pursuit of excellence becomes more meaningful, because this is a time. COVID-19 actually is a time for all students, everyone, why students, everyone, to do little bit of introspection also. That what are we doing? And these are not only philosophical questions, but these are actually the practical questions which are in everybody's mind. And we go to school, after school we go to colleges. Now, why we are doing this? What is the purpose? And what really the education means to us? These are some of the points which I wanted to first dwell upon. And as I mentioned, I'm going to make a very short, about 15 minutes or so, and then we are going to engage with each other, because I personally believe that teachers and students, you are talking about the nexus, and it has to continue as a nexus or a network, wherein both participate. So I don't want to engage in a monologue. I want to also listen from you, and I know that I can learn so much from young students. Even today, I continue to learn from my students. When we talk about education, because all of us are now in education, you as student, I may be as teacher, but I believe that I am still a student. So there are four major objectives. If you ask me, what are the objectives of this education? And these are the objectives which you can divide into four quadrants. The first objective of education is academic objective. And here that learning component will come in. Learning, real unlearning, and relearning, these three shades which the talk title has given, these three shades become very important when COVID-like situation emerges, because in this situation we understand the importance of learning, importance of unlearning or inevitability of unlearning, and inevitability of the relearning. So this period, academic academic objectives are not only about what you have in school curriculum. It is about your intellectual struggle, intellectual integrity. It is about the scientific temper. It is about the critical thinking. It is about questioning. It is about logic. It is about, so all this, what you get by academic, we expect that these colleges, universities, and school, in addition to what they give you in curriculum or syllabus or information or knowledge, they should also give you all this. They should give you criticality. They should give you the thinking capacity. They should encourage questioning. So all that should come under that academic basket, and excellence in academic is very much required if you want to travel further. But this is not enough. Academic is fine, but the next important objective of education is moral and spiritual dimensions. And you would be surprised why I'm saying so. But unless you connect with academic moral and spiritual values, this is not complete. And in this, you will be talking about emotional maturity, ethics and value systems, simple living, the value of importance of simple living, the dignity of labor, So all this comes under moral and spiritual values, respect to environment, all these. And then social sensibilities is the third one. Social sensibilities, the caste system, the citizenry, typically, for where are we living, the society connection, the sensitivities in our mind about all those people who are really not getting as much as we are getting. So this is about the understanding the people's agonies and try to help them and try to see that our knowledge, how we can help them. So these are social sensitivities. Just to expand on that, I will tell you that if our students, we understand that what are the agonies of farmers who are making suicides in drought-prone areas like Marathwada. Once we get ourselves into their situation, understand, those sensibilities develop in our mind, and then our education also becomes complete. Then we start thinking that if I am economist, what I can do for the farmers. If I am biotechnologist, what I can do for those poor farmers. And not only farmers, all those who need us, what we can do, giving back to the society. And ultimately, the quality, whatever we do, and therefore it connects with the excellence, whatever we do, how we ensure quality component in it. So with this basic so-called educational objectives, well, I also want to raise a question that what do we mean by an educated person? After coming out with 10th standard or 12th standard, after coming out of school and getting ready to get into the college, can we call ourselves as educated person? Or after completing the education in the university and completing almost 16 to 18 years of formal education with graduation or post-graduation, do we become really educated person? What are those attributes of educated persons? So those also. So the learning, unlearning, and relearning has to happen at all the levels. And these are, I'll not explain. I'll just tell you what are these attributes. The first attribute, according to me, is developing independent learning, reading, and communication skills. That is one every student, irrespective of branches, every student, the intellectual curiosity. It is the documenting knowledge, using best out of whatever is available in the information sources, including the internet, not just WhatsApp and Twitter, but the ability to read, understand, and critically evaluate different resources is very, very important, Second is information and understanding, the access to relevant information. And I know that your generation is much better in getting access to this kind of information, because our generation has grown, have actually learned the technology. I have learned the technology. But my grandchildren or my children, they grew with the technology, and there is a big difference, So information and understanding, information can come easily, but understanding will not necessarily come with the information. In our Indian pedagogy, there are 4 levels of learning and teaching they have explained, And I'll just mention them. The first level is called Adidhi. These are Sanskrit terms, Adidhi is information capturing. Bodha is analyzing that information, understanding that information, critically evaluating that information, trying to make sense of that information. So Adidhi, Bodha, then comes Acharana. So whatever you have learned, you have to actually practice it. So it could be actual practicals for science students, or it could be interactions with the community for social science students. So Aditi, Bodha, Acharana, and then at the last you have to Pracharana. When you become all this, then you have to actually Pracharana means actually you have to work on it, adopt them, and follow it yourself. So these are the 4 layers. So information is not enough. Understanding is important. And then developing intellectual capacities, the capacity of critical thinking, inquiry, integration, which include thinking like a mathematician, philosopher, and scientist without requiring specialized knowledge. So you may be engineer, you may be doctor, whoever, but you must be trained, or you must learn to think like a mathematician, to think like a philosopher, or to think like a scientist, irrespective of your discipline. So this kind of a designer, inventor, engineer, doctor, manager, leader, entrepreneur, be what you are. Your thinking, design thinking, these kind of intellectual capabilities are very, very important for an educated person. Then you should be also able to really have ability to shift away from propaganda, myths, dogma, in search of truth, you should be able to understand what is fake news and what is real news if you are on social media. So these are some of the capabilities any educated person must develop, and the education system or the learning system must inculcate these, Then the citizenry, the awareness and commitment to one's rights and responsibilities as members of community, country, humanity, and a sense of global citizenship, I am a global citizen. I may be staying in Pune or Mumbai or in small village, but I must adopt sustainable living, the sustainable development goals, which UN is talking about, But Mahatma Gandhi talked about the same long back, Sadhi Rahani Ucha Vichar Sarani, that's what they call it in Marathi. So these are the call, and a minimalistic lifestyle, which now becoming very, very fashion in the West, was actually the gift from our own philosophy, which we have lost, unfortunately. The set of qualities that come under character, such as honesty, truthfulness, integrity, courage, all this self-discipline, all these should become part of the educatedness. Then social and emotional component, ability to regulate one's attention and emotions, such as one can engage with life's demands, with unfamiliar situations, with fellow human beings in a rational, ethical, and mature way. These are some of the qualities which educated person must have irrespective of your discipline. The emotional maturity that includes the ability to liberate oneself from undesirable emotions like hatred, anger, hostility, irritability, intolerance, the kind of stress which we are facing today is all linked with that, and we should be able to cope up with this stress. Then attitude and habits of mind. The academic habits of mind, such as intellectual curiosity, looking at counter examples to knowledge claims, detecting logical contradictions, being wary of one's biases, the clarity and precision of communication, all these should be part of educatedness. Are we learning these? Are we really looking at it? And the last one is also important, that is beauty. The appreciation of beauty across different forms of tradition of arts, ability, and aesthetic judgments, based on shared perceptions and shared aesthetic values. This is extremely important. So you know that we have two sides of brains. The STEM students, STEM is extremely important, and engineering, technology, mathematics, science, everything is important. But that is not all. Science or engineering or technology will not be complete unless we have insights in humanities and social sciences. So unfortunately, because of overemphasis on STEM, and I know majority of you may be trying for JEE and other such competitive tests, aspiring to go in IITs or such other cream institution. But in the process, we should not shrink our right side of the brain. We need right side of the brain. It is equally important, and we should not become really over-dominated by either of these sides. So in short, I would like to say that when we talk about learn, unlearn, and relearn, we should ask three questions. What are our goals? The learning outcomes of whatever program we want to do, what do we want to learn? So what is the first question that connects with goals? This is specified in program syllabus, so what syllabus you want to learn, which side you want to learn, but what you want to learn. Second is the purpose, the philosophy of education related to goals and means to address the question why. So why is connected with the purpose. Why students should learn what is prescribed in the curriculum. And the third is means, the pedagogical strategies, related to how. How is connected to means. So what, why, and how. These we should keep in mind whenever we are trying to learn, unlearn, or relearn. And for example, the problem solving is one of the most important skill, irrespective of which branch you want to go in. The problem is a gap between desirable and the existing state. And a solution, in short, is an action or practice that result in an alignment in these two states. So problem solving, first of all, problem finding. Problem finding is also important, and problem solving is also important. So all this is criticality, critical thinking, design thinking. Why I wanted to stress on this is these are some of the attributes of educated person. And when you all are ready, because your age group is such that you are either in colleges or getting ready to go in a college or getting ready to go in any professional program, I think in addition to excelling in that profession, you must try hard to get those attributes which are important to become educated person. And any country not only requires skilled human resource, but they require educated human resource. Just by getting degree, we don't become educated. So with this, I think I would stop now and open for question and answer rather than I going talking only. I would really like to know what you think, what you reflect, whether you agree, disagree to what I said, and look forward to even learn from you in this. So thank you again, Anusha, for that kind introduction, and it's a pleasure to be with all of you. So let's continue next 30-40 minutes in mutual learning exercise. Thank you.
Hello, sir. We really loved hearing your thoughts about education and being an educated person instead of just being a skilled person. But we would also like to know a little bit about you, if that's okay with you. So here at the TSSN community, we are all around the age of 16 to 18. And many of us have already decided what we want to do. Many of us are confused about what we want to do. So can you reminisce about what were your aspirations and career motivations when you were at our age?
Yeah, actually, when I was in school, I knew what I wanted to do. You know, I liked biology, so I decided that I want to do biology. But that was not enough. You know, in my own home, I was observing. I was curious to know various things which are happening around me. You know, and since childhood, in my home, you know, lot of home remedies used to be practiced. Not only just haldi milk or something, but several simple home remedies used to be practiced. And that was in my mind since that time, that why people are using what they are using, and what must be the basis, what must be the rationale, what must be the science behind. So I wanted to study all that. So that was in my mind right from the beginning. So when I went to science, I decided that I don't want to go to medicine, I don't want to go to pharmacy, but I want to study basic science first. But after I did my basic science, you know, I decided that now I want to study biology, and not just biology, but chemistry of biology. So I went to biochemistry, and I did my master's in biochemistry and PhD in biochemistry. And I went to Hafkin Institute to do my PhD, where I tried right from my graduate project. My graduate project was something which is on, many of you may not have seen that plant, you know, it is of the same family of cashew nut. It is called as bhallatak in Sanskrit or bibba in Marathi, you know, that black nut. If you see that black nut and crush it, you know, you get a black oil which is very corrosive. And that black oil is used by dhobis to put permanent mark on your clothes. So those permanent marks on your dhobi clothes, if you have given some clothes for dhobi washing, you will see that they write your initials with some. Now we have marker pen, you know, but that time there was no marker pen. So they would use this plant. So this plant, my grandmother was, and my auntie, they were using it for killing pain. You know, that time anti-tetanus, if you get a deep wound, you know, then the possibility of tetanus is there. You don't have a easy access to get anti-tetanus shot, you know. So there are these, and we used to get relief, you know, after those treatments. You know, pain used to go, no much infection used to be there. So I wanted to test that. So I took that nut in the lab and saw what it contains. Chemically, I identified and isolated a chemical compound which is known as bilevenol. You know, it is a catechol with a long side chain. So on one side you have a hydrophilic group, on the other side you have hydrophobic long chain. So a very, very unique compound which has a hydrophilic and hydrophobic dual capability. And I showed in the laboratory, in a microbiology laboratory, wherein we cultivate, we actually use Clostridium tetani. which is a tetanus causing bacteria, which is anaerobic bacteria. And at that time, testing bacteria, anaerobic bacteria was not easy in the university laboratory. So I had to go to Serum Institute to do that work, because Serum Institute was manufacturing tetanus toxide at that time. And my project happened in Serum Institute. And after that, I continued to work on various such remedies. Then I went into Ayurveda, and now my most of the work is understanding the basic concepts of Ayurveda as well as the rational and logic of different Ayurvedic medicines. So this kind of a journey which I opted out was actually imprinted in my mind when I was small. And I can also give you example of my own daughter. My own daughter, when she was in 8th standard, she told me, Baba, I want to do architecture, and that's it. I don't want to do any other thing. She was in Nyanprabodhini at that time. She was having a very good drawing and other such skills, creative mind, which normally any artist would require. And she did that, she did not give any other test. I said that at least as a stopgap arrangement, you should give some other test, if you don't get it in architecture, at least do something. She refused to do that, and she gave only architecture entrance examination. She got selected. She became architect. After doing bachelor's in architect here, she went to US, did her master's in environmental architecture or green architecture, and she was a lead certified architect there. But in Nyanprabodhini, they had taken a kind of a commitment, that they will come back to our country and serve after 5 years. And we used to make a fun of them, Her husband is also from Nyanprabodhini. So we used to make fun of her. No, nobody comes. Once you go to US, you are gone, But then they came, both of them came. And this is something I think that at your age, I'm sure many of you may be confused. But if you engage with yourself, start talking to yourself, which is a meditation. Meditation is not a great thing, It is just talking and listening to your own inner voice. Then the answers automatically emerge. But unfortunately, not many times we tell our students, to do such things. We tell them, we give them prescription. This is great, you go there, or if I have done something, you must do that, So these kinds of different pressures we build in students. I think this is not right. Every student is different, and every student has right to bloom as per her or his own aspirations, own likings, own capabilities, and we should not really rate them on par we need not compare them. Everybody is different. Everybody is beautiful. Everybody is good. That's it.
Right.
Sorry for that longish answer, I think.
No, sir, that was perfect. You mentioned your project that you worked on, and I'm sure it must have been a highlight of your project, of your journey throughout. Can you also describe some other major highlights of your professional journey since the past 4 decades?
Yeah, when I went to my biochemistry, I did my biochemistry with one of the great biochemists of this country. And his name is Professor John Barnabas. He retired as a director grade scientist from National Chemical Laboratory. And when I told him, because all my classmates in biochemistry, I must tell you, almost a majority of them are in US or in other countries. And majority of them had worked at that time at master's dissertation on proteins, or enzymes or separations, or this was a fashion at that time, enzymology or protein biochemistry, or even isolating nucleic acids and all those kinds of things. They later on became molecular biologists, hardcore geneticists and all that. But at that time, when I went to my supervisor, Professor Barnabas, I told him that my heart is in this, I want to do on medicinal plants. Many people laughed, what this jadpatti you want to work on, you are going to become biochemist. I said, no, but I want to work on that. That time, remember, this was not in fashion. Today, everybody is really looking into medicinal plants and Ayurveda as great opportunities, and it has become a global opportunity also, but at that time, it was not. But he encouraged me. So encouraging students, identifying students' mind, respecting students' aspiration, is one of the big responsibility of teachers. That's what he did at that time, and therefore I could travel further. And then after that, during my PhD also, during my PhD, I was working in the interdisciplinary area. So not one place you will get everything. So you have to go to people where those skills or facilities exist. So you won't believe I did my master's project or my PhD in 4 or 5 different places. So I used to do sonication in Pune University. I used to take those samples in test tubes and everything, go to Serum Institute, culture there with Serum Institute on those vaccines, do those petri plates and all that thing. Those who have done microbiology will understand that. Then bring those samples back, because some equipments were not there even at that time in Serum. So from Serum, I had to go to Hindustan Antibiotics at that time, which is other corner of Pune, Pimpri. Do those experiments at Hindustan Antibiotics and then bring back again to Pune University in the Department of Botany where I was working. My guide, Samuel David, he was also excellent teacher. They really encouraged us to do all this. But just encouragement is not enough. The inner drive is also important. It was so stressful at that time, to travel on a scooter, sometimes by bus, to go from Pune University to Serum Institute all the way in Hadapsar. From Hadapsar, go to the Hindustan Antibiotics for doing different kind of studies. So, but that age, you are full with energy. So try to make full use of that and do what you like. Follow your heart. Don't bother about anything. After PhD, then I worked in industry for some time. And because of the inspiration from another great teacher, Professor P.V. Sukhatme, who is the renowned biostatistician and nutritionist, I came back to Pune University and we established a interdisciplinary school of health sciences at that time in 1994. That time, and the questions were asked, why Pune University wants to start School of Health Sciences when Pune has so many good medical schools. And then we had to tell them that health is not taught in medical schools. In medical schools, they teach you medicine. But before you go to medical doctor, your health can be in your hands. So health is important. You have to protect your health. If you lose health, you need doctor. That is fine. So those determinants of health, be nutrition, genetics, lifestyle or behavior, all these determinants of health are studied at health sciences. We don't teach their medicine, we teach their health.
That was a great insight, sir. Could you tell us something about the Ministry of Ayush for those of us who don't know about it, and also what led you into working in the Ayush sector and the key achievements there?
As I told you, because I was interested in Ayurveda, obviously Ayush connection was there. Ayush is an acronym. It is means Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy. So Ayush each letter stands for one traditional system of medicine. In addition, there is naturopathy also, and Soarikpa also is included. Soarikpa is Tibetan medicine, So these are all clubbed together under the Ministry of Ayush. And what we are trying to do is bring science to this, which was not that much, because I cannot tell you to use Ayurveda. If I tell you, Anusha, you use Ayurveda because Charak has told that this is great, 4,000 years ago. You will say, so what, Charakam may be a great sage, I respect. But why I should use Ayurveda today? You would ask for what is the evidence. If you are telling me to take Ayurvedic medicine, today students also will ask, any educated person will ask why I should take. Where is the science behind it? Why we take aspirin? Because we know that if we take aspirin, there are several studies. We show that aspirin reduces inflammation or aspirin can stop your headache. Therefore, we take aspirin. So what are these Ayurvedic medicines? What do they contain? What are their chemical profile? Are they safe? How do you bring in quality element in it? What are their mechanisms of action? Do they really work or do they don't work? All these questions need to be answered by scientists. And that's what we try to do. So not just Ayurveda or Ayush, but evidence-based Ayurveda or evidence-based Ayush, so that the global community also is able to use them with confidence, not just Indian community, because Indian community will use it because of our faith, our trust. But that is not enough. Faith-based medicine is not a scientific medicine. So we want to convert this Ayush. It may be scientific right from the beginning, but we just want to show that what is the science behind it. So that's the work which we do at Ministry of Ayush, and we are doing several studies even in COVID period. There are about 120 different types of clinical trials which we have undertaken across India. 120 clinical trials are happening in different parts of India. And some of the clinical trial results are also out. And some of the medicines we have shown that they are as good as any allopathic medicines which are being used, and they are much safer. It's a challenging field because in our own country, talking about own culture is considered out of fashion.
I think people just need to be made more aware about Ayurveda and its uses.
While I said so, I must also mention that while we should be proud of our culture, there is no doubt about it, about our heritage, about glorious history, we should not become dogmatic. And we should not live in a self-pride, past glory syndrome. I repeat, we should not live in self-pride, past glory syndrome. For example, if somebody invents something, we will go back and say, we knew it thousands of years ago. That is not enough. So youngsters like you should come forward and they should say that today's science don't know these things. But maybe our Sanskrit literature or Vedas or our other traditional knowledge systems, they talk about something like this. This is not known to science today. I want to study that. It may or may not come true, but at least I want to study, have a look at it, without discarding it as something which is old, so just throw it out. No, that attitude is also not good. And we know everything attitude is also not good. So we have to have scientific temper in it.
You spoke about the Ayush Mantralaya. Can you tell us about your current role as the National Research Professor of Ayush Ministry?
Yeah, Ayush, National Research Professor Ayush, actually, see what has happened is India or Bharat, for that matter, hundreds of years we have lived in slavery or under suppression. And most of our knowledge either was destroyed or was vitiated. And the Pandits or the Ayurvedic Vaidyas or traditional practitioners have protected that knowledge for years together. But while they are protected, they have been kept away from the developments of modern science. I must tell you that Greek medicine or Greek traditional medicine, at one time it was traditional medicine, Greek traditional medicine. It became modern medicine or allopathy because it traveled with science. But at that time, Ayurveda was not able to travel with science because we were kept away from all the scientific developments. We missed the brush with industrial revolution. And so that science remained in a dormant stage, but it was protected fortunately by our people. So now it is our responsibility to bring it with science. So give it scientific basis. But these Ayurvedic professionals or Vaidyas, may not be good in scientific skills, scientific knowledge, scientific techniques. So instead of really humiliating them and asking them questions, what research you are doing, Indian scientists should take that onus on us and tell us, thank you very much. You have protected the knowledge. You are practicing classical Ayurveda very well. So you do your good practice and documentation. We will do research on Ayurveda. So what I did, in short, I will tell you just one of my interesting study. I hypothesized in year 2000 that the concept of dosha prakriti in Ayurveda has genetic connotation. Now, since you are in all this age group, you know basic genetics. So we said that vata, pitta, kapha, this kind of a classification Ayurvedic Vaidya do, it has a rationale and it has a basis of genetics. And to prove that, because any hypothesis, we have to either prove or disprove hypothesis. So we did, our group was working in Pune. There is an eminent rheumatologist known as Dr. Arvind Chopra. And he was working on rheumatoid arthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis relationship with one of the gene known as HLA gene is very well known. So we did gene polymorphism study. In a blind study, we took 76 patients of rheumatoid arthritis, divided them into Vat, Pitta, Kapha in a blind manner. So we did not know what is what. And then we analyzed their HLA DRB gene polymorphism, and we showed that the gene alleles of this, they get distributed statistically different in Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. This was the first time in the world solid scientific support came in the Ayurvedic concept side. And then we published that, we presented that at Cold Spring Harbor Symposium on Pharmacogenomics. And then we published it in many international journals. Today, this discipline is known as Genomics. And CSIR has invested more than 100 crores for doing further research on this Genomics. And several labs now today are working on this Genomics. So this one example tells us what a knowledge treasure we have. And there is a huge scope for doing new studies, innovations based on our own knowledge system, and come out with a leadership for our own Bharatiya Gyan Parampara in the world. Rather than telling that our ancestors also knew how to fly planes, or we also knew the atoms and all, that may be fine, in our, and that may be true also. In some of our Vedas, this description may be there. But have you done that? That is the question. So that's the self-pride and past glory. What I mentioned, we should get out of that syndrome and bring science on the top.
In the beginning, you mentioned that you were always inclined towards biology and you had a passion for it. So everyone advises that follow your passions and a career will develop itself. What are your thoughts on this philosophy? Does it apply to everyone? Should we follow it?
I think there is no formula for everyone. Everyone, as I told you, is different, and everyone will have to discover her own path. Nobody in the world can help you in that. You will have to discover that path. You will have to decide, you will have to struggle, you have to work. Many others can help you. Your parents can help you. Your friends can help you. But that job is your own job. And so my suggestion to all the young friends is, many times we have to compromise also. I don't say that you don't have to. Many times we have to compromise. And many times we have to really ignore our own priorities, because the environments are such. You may like to do medicine, but you may not get admission in medicine. Or you may get admission in medicine, but you may not afford to pay fees for the medicine. Several reasons I am giving you. So don't lose heart. Even if you are not able to do what you wanted to do from your heart, that may emerge somewhere else, somewhere down the line. Tomorrow, you may get a chance, if not to become doctor, but to contribute to medical field in some way or other. So don't lose that inspiration, opportunity, or interest. But time being, if something else is doable before you, you should not hesitate, and you should not be sticking to only thing what I want to do this. You should have flexibility in your mind, and while having flexibility, you don't have to compromise with your own interest. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't have to compromise, because those opportunities may emerge somewhere in the future.
Right. Also, what attitude and behavior should one inculcate in pursuit of excellence in their career choice?
As I told you, the attributes of educatedness, I have told you, I mean, these are the attributes which each one of us should try to really acquire. If not in college, if not in school, if not in universities, there are ways and means to acquire them through many other sources. But without these attributes, our education is not complete. Just merely by taking degree, it will not be complete. And let me tell you, when you will go in a job market, at that time, I must tell you that the selection in top companies may not happen only based on what knowledge you have, but it will be mostly, majoritarily based on what attitudes you have. So developing the right attitude is extremely important. I will give you one example of my own student. I will give you his name also. His name is Naneshwar Varude. He came from a very small village in Ahmednagar district. His father was a primary teacher, and he came from a poor farmer family, very poor. And coming from a village, his English was extremely weak, extremely intelligent. He studied merit. He got his admission for his Master of Pharmacy. He did with me. He got that admission merit at Pune College of Pharmacy. And when he came and started working with me, I could see that spark, and I knew that he will grow one day very big. So he did excellently well with me. He did his pharmacy. He did his PhD in pharmacy also with me later. He published excellently in good journals. Then he worked in Lupin, one of the good pharmaceutical company here. And then he was selected for a scientist position at one of the largest pharmaceutical company in the world, where every pharmaceutical scientist aspires to go. That company's name is Takeda Pharmaceutical. And this is a real story I'm telling. So Takeda Pharmaceutical advertised this position, and imagine Takeda, getting in Takeda is so tough. Just to give you an example, if 1,000 applicants are there, they select one. So this is a competition level. Takeda, like it is like Pfizer, or Takeda is one amongst first 5 pharmaceuticals in the world, so giant company. So he was shortlisted. He continued 3 layers of interviews. He successfully did, and then he was called for the final interview at Japan, in Tokyo. He went to Tokyo. Final interview. Imagine final interview, and it was so tough. Now out of 1,000, he was 6, one of the 6 shortlisted candidates. And when Naneshwar went there, they took his interview and everything was good. So he was very happy about it. Then they gave him a form because they were giving him reimbursement of his entire travel expenses. And Naneshwar filled this form, and gave it back to them. And then he came back to India. The results were not known because it is not like immediately they will do something. There is every company of this nature have very good due diligence. So Naneshwar came, and then he realized that they have paid him $50 or something more because he had traveled by bus from here to Mumbai, and they gave him airfare, something of that. And then Naneshwar wrote them back and told them that you have given me $50 more, so I have to return that money to you. Because, so give me your bank details, I want to return. And there at Takeda, that story he learned later, that Takeda finance department and the Takeda human resource department, they were stunned to know this kind of gesture. And among 6, of course, he was in merit. But at the final level, and in this competitive world, everyone must remember that every step counts. Every little thing counts for your selection. He was finally selected based on his gesture of returning that $50. This is what the attitude I was talking. These are the values, these are the upbringing, and these are the qualities which we must try to inculcate within us. Finally, they will take you to success.
Yeah, that was a very inspiring story. I hope all of our viewers and we will keep it in mind definitely. Over to Isha.
Thank you, Tanvi. Hello, sir. We have a few more questions from our audience.
Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead. I will
We
make it
as
little brighter.
Sure, sir.
You go ahead, I can hear you. I'm just opening the window.
Okay. We as students are at a point that many people have an impact on our thought process and who are our mentors and guiding lights in life. So, who are your mentors at various stages of your personal and professional life? And what did you learn from them directly and indirectly?
A very good question. I think when we did not know what mentors are, we were groomed by our school teachers, all dedicated. I come from a Marathi medium school. It's called a Nutan Marathi Vidyalaya in Pune, Numavi. And all those teachers, without we knowing, they groomed us. So they are kind of unsung soldiers who really developed us at that time. In colleges, of course, my first mentor became Professor John Barnabas, as I told you. He was my academic mentor first. Then P.V. Sukhatme was another mentor, and my own doctoral supervisor, Samuel David, he was my mentor. Later on, actually shaping of my mind towards Ayurveda and science came through many people. I'll just mention few names. One most important is Dr. Ashok Vaidya, who is a clinical pharmacologist. He was medical director of Ciba Geigy that time, now Novartis, big company. He did his postdoctoral from Yale, and he was professor of medicine at Grant Medical College or JJ Hospital and KEM Hospital in Mumbai. He did his MD thesis, MD pharmacology, modern medicine thesis on Bhrugu Samhita at that time. And at that time, his thesis was rejected, because medical profession was not ready to recognize this Bhrugu Samhita and all. So he did not live that. And today also at the age nearing 90, he and his wife Rama Vaidya in Mumbai, they continue to mentor me. Professor P.V. Sukhatme is no more, but he taught me that in science, whatever we do should in some way or other be of some help to those poor people who are standing there on the road. So that kind of learnings he gave us, and he taught us basics of public health. Dr. N.S. Devdar, who taught us basics of public health. Dr. Banu Koyaji, she taught us how the humane nature of medicine can be there. Dr. R.D. Lele, who was medical director of Jaslok Hospital in Mumbai, and most importantly, in recent times, Dr. R.A. Mashelkar, who is kind of an innovation evangelist, he influenced my mind tremendously. So he was in CSIR, and I worked with him closely during Indian Science Congress. You may be very young at that time in 2000. Many of you may not be even born at that time. In 2000 in Pune, Indian Science Congress happened, and at that time there was a huge success, and scientists became like heroes, in the eyes of public. So Dr. Mashelkar continues to inspire me even today. And Dr. M.S. Valiathan, who invented the first cardiac valve, indigenous cardiac valve in India. He is again a very, very distinguished scientist who wrote, after doing his cardiology or cardiac surgery, he learned Sanskrit, and he wrote books on Charak, Sushruta and Vagbhat after learning Sanskrit. He is a modern medicine doctor, continues to inspire me even today. And there are several more, and mentors come from various corners, And even a small little student also can become your mentor for some things. Your even grandchildren also can become your mentor for something. They teach you something, which is very, very unique, and in some way or other they become mentors. So mentors, I would say that you will meet such mentors at all nook and corners. They will identify you. Like one of my top mentor even today, that is the last name I will tell, because he is now 93-year-old. His name is Gururaj Mutalik. He was Dean of BJ Medical College, Professor of Medicine. Then he became Director of Medical Education and Research for Maharashtra State. And then he retired as Regional Director of World Health Organization in New York office. He is now in US, but he continues to interact with me. Even now we write together. Just 3-4 years ago, we wrote a book together, and my student, who also is my mentor, is Vaidya Girish Tillu. He is my student. He did my PhD. But I must tell you, all my PhD students are much better than me in their own disciplines. And I consider them, all of them, as my mentors too.
Thank you, sir. I am sure even we as audience have taken some inspiration from your mentors. I just wanted to ask, can we extend the session till 5:15? We have some more
Yes,
doubts.
yes, go ahead. Yes, sure, sure.
Thank you, sir. So the next question we have is, what would be the advice from Professor Patwardhan of today if you meet the younger 16-year-old yourself?
Yeah, I think I have given that already in many cases. I would say, in short, you should follow your heart, and there is no substitute to hard work. And there is also no shortcut for integrity and ethics. So these are some of the values you should not compromise at any level, at any cost. And listen to your inner voice. You will get answers yourself.
We have some questions about the new normal. So you spoke about the need for holistic development of the students. So on the same lines, could you describe the most important highlights of the new education policy 2020?
Yeah, new education policy, actually, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, who also is my mentor, I did not tell you my mentors from education field. I gave you all my mentors from research field. In education also, I have many mentors. Education, the Professor Arun Nigwekar, who just passed away a few days ago, was my mentor. He was the chairman of University Grants Commission. Like Dr. Kasturi Rangan, who was chairman of this Committee for National Education Policy, is my mentor. So this new education policy, national education policy, is the first policy which is trying to keep student at the center. And just one example I will give you why I'm saying so. See, as students, and you have experienced it yourself, I need not tell you, do you have any choice? When you go to school or when you go to college, do you have any choice? I don't see any choice. We say that student-centric system, but if you want to go to college, now many of you are passing out from 12th standard and you may go in college. What choice you have? You will go to a college will sell you prospectus will have different names of different courses. You will choose one course from that. You will take admission to that course. Once you take admission to that course, you will get a syllabus. After you get a syllabus, the curriculum will start. Teachers will come in classroom and teach you what is there in the syllabus. Then after some time, teachers will give you question bank. Based on this question bank, some good teachers may give you model answers also. And you will prepare your model answers, and in final examination, they will ask you questions mostly from question banks and see whether you have answered them as per their model answers. And those who will write good model answers as per their expectation will get good marks. In the whole process, Where is the choice for student? Tell me, do you have a choice to, if you are taken admission to engineering, you are completely locked in engineering and technology. If you want to learn tabla, can you do that? You may do that as your additional hobby, but as a part of academic course, are you able to do that? No, you were not able to do that. So now with the national education policy, we are saying that students should be center, students should be master, and students should be able to decide what she or he wants to learn, and not we should dictate them what they want to learn. So while I was at UGC, a new regulation we have passed that 40% of the credits student can earn from anywhere in any subject. So engineering student can earn, and engineering student can join Lalit Kala Kendra in Pune University and earn credit in learning tabla, or do Bharatnatyam and do Arangetram and get those credits. Those credits now can become your academic credits, not just your one certificate as hobby. So this is a big change we are trying to bring. And the new national education policy also has come out with a concept called academic bank of credit. This academic bank of credit will function like any other bank where you deposit your money. Here you will deposit your credits and you can redeem your credits, and universities can decide that how many credits are required for which degree. For example, engineering university will decide that to become B in mechanical engineering, you need say 60% of your credits in mechanical engineering, or 70% of the credits for mechanical engineering. Rest of the credits student will be able to get from anywhere. So some students may go to business school and get some credits. Some students may go to Lalit Kala Kendra. Some students may go to language classes. Whatever you want. Some students may excel in sports also. So whatever you want, you can do, and those credits will be considered as academic credit. And as soon as you become eligible to get or required number of credits, you can apply and get that degree. So not necessarily you have to complete that degree in defined period of time. Today, what we are doing, you take admission to BA or BSc or BE. BA, if you are doing in 3 years, you pass out. If you are not able to do in 3 years, you are stamped as failure. Why? Some students may be able to do BA in 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. Some student may be able to do your BA in English in 1 year. Students, even today, I can give you one example that there was a representation from one bright student from engineering college, and that student said that your 5-year engineering course, I can do it in 2 years time. And we gave special permission to that student. Anil Sahasrabudhe, who is chairman of AICTE, he dared to give that student special concession, and instead of 5-year time, I think that student completed BE degree in 3 years time. This is what new education is emerging in India. So you all are very lucky that by the time you enter in education system, you will get benefits of all that what I talked about. So I wish you all the best. Try to get maximum benefit of all these opportunities and become a student with different kind of educatedness, not just your professional skills.
Thank you, sir. That was really insightful, and this education policy is in true sense for the students. We'll take the last 2 to 3 questions now. Yes, we have a question saying, what are your insights on the current blended learning, which is generating divided opinions in the education sector?
Yeah. See, the 21st century, because of COVID, the blended learning has been expedited. Blended learning is definitely our future. And the illiterates of 21st century, what Alvin Toffler said, I agree with him, was a great futurologist. He said that the illiterates of 21st century will not be those who do not know how to read and write, but those who do not know how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is the theme which you have chosen. I am sure you know that this was quoted first by Alvin Toffler in his book, Future Shock. So 21st century skills, if you really want to know, the blended learning, because earlier there was postal courses, then the distance education, then the satellite made education through television programs and all. But all this is important. Even you can get education from radio also. But this has to be in blended mode. Some kind of information which can be accessible, available in internet can go online. Some kind of information wherein you require mentorship can happen actually on one-to-one basis in the classroom. Some kind of information which society can give you better as a practical experience can happen outside university campus also. So this kind of a blended model is the reality. And in COVID situation, who know, just about 1 year ago, how many of us might have used the kind of Zoom platform? Many of us may not have even heard what is webinar in last May or last April. So this kind of a situation which COVID has created has given us an opportunity to fast forward this blended learning mechanism. I believe that future is blended learning, and the COVID has actually shown us it can happen. It has also shown us what are the difficulties, and we are working, all of us are working on how to overcome these difficulties and make better model for our situation. So I think that the future university will maximize the power of digital technologies. MOOCs is massive online open courses, or animated laboratories and personalized data coming from various courses, various sources. Classrooms of the future will possibly feature social robots, not just Asimo-like robots, but social robots who can assist human teachers and help them to enhance teachers' capability. Already you may have seen, many of you may have seen that artificial intelligence-based voice-assisted devices such as Siri, Alexa, chatbots like Eliza, or humanoid robots like Asimo or Sophia, they are all become reality. And our own Indian Mitra is also there. Or you may have seen Microsoft recent artificial intelligence-based hologram technology, in which you can actually see teacher coming in front of you. That teacher may be in America, but his 3D picture hologram is in front of you. All these can enrich our experiences of learning, and the barrier of language can go because of these technologies. Even today, I must admit that I understand better in my own mother tongue. I enjoy more reading Marathi book than English book, even today. So learning in mother tongue enhances our understanding much more. So the new technologies which are coming up, the translation technologies, the parsing technologies are becoming now easy to get education in our own mother tongue. So the Microsoft hologram or HoloLens or augmented reality, the online learning technologies, all this is going to be changing the face or landscape and feature and nature of education. So future education, in short, according to me, should be need-based. It should be student-centric. We should respect students' capabilities, aspirations, interests. Robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, holographic, virtual reality, augmented reality, they will drive the learning processes. Collaborative learning must be there by involving students, learning from students also, flipped classroom, wherein students become teachers. The skills, employability, and entrepreneurship should be all clubbed together in any learning platform, learning outside classroom and outside campuses, like study abroad programs. society and industry connect, and sustainable development goals, national and global integration, and finally, we should try to become global citizens while firmly rooted on our own grounds for our own people. We should not lose track of what is happening in the global scenario, because now it's a global village, it's a global connected village. So education and learning will have to keep all this background at the backdrop. And I think that your generation is going to do a lot of wonders in near future.
Thank you, sir. Due to time constraints, we'll have to take the last question now. As a budding organization, what is your advice to TSSN for our future sessions?
No, I think I don't need to give you any advices. Though the way in which you have organized yourself, is very impressive. It's very good to see young minds coming together and trying to do something for other students also, in a cohesive manner. And you have already a very good mentors like Santosh with you, and of course I'll be there if you need any help. Keep up the good work and do well. Wish you all great career, great life. Stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. Over to Anusha.
Okay, so now I will be proposing the vote of thanks for today's special session. On behalf of Team TSSN and all participants, I extend our gratitude to Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, sir, who took out valuable time from his busy schedule and inspired us with his thoughts and expressions. I'm certain that each one of us will now strive for the pursuit of excellence in our chosen profession. Thank you once again, sir. I would like to thank our co-organizers from the Center of Complementary and Integrative Health, Interdisciplinary School of Health and Sciences at Savitribai Phule Pune University for the support to this event. A big thanks to all participants as well. It was wonderful having you all. I would also like to extend a special thanks to our mentor, Dr. Santosh Dikshit, who has been a part of TSSN since its beginning. Lastly, every event requires teamwork. So I would like to thank my team members here at TSSN for making this session a great success. We request you to keep supporting the TSSN activities. Thank you.